Good evening. My name is Christine Dobbin, and I am from Rice University in Houston, Texas. And though I was by no means born into environmentalism, I want to introduce you, thank you, to the most recent version of conventional Christine. I thought I had made it as an environmentalist, as a human being. I, in my hometown, had created a program for immigrants and refugees to organically farm their own produce because they couldn't afford what was in the store. I worked with faculty members on my campus to create a composting program. And I got the most prestigious medical school in Texas across the street from me to give me all of their scraps from my tiny little compost pile. And then I got a fellowship to do forestry research in Australia. It can't get better, right? It cannot get better than that. But then it did. Every single ingredient I ate abroad was local, organic, and fresh and vegan. I could walk to the farm every single day and pick my own food. I also got to do forestry research. I was paid by Forestry Tasmania to do research that said you cannot log any single old growth eucalypt forest in the entire state. And in my free time, I visited the Aquarius Festival site from the 70s, which was the birthplace of environmental collaboration in Australia. I tracked down for many weekends and finally found my eco-hero, Bob Brown, and got to speak to him. And I spent many hours on the ground with my hand in a pipe, locked onto a blockade to protect the tarkine. And my research professor would drive up in his car, see that us hippies were still there, and drive away. And I'd brush myself up, and I went right back into work the next morning. And I lived with Indigenous people for a few months because I wanted to learn how I could fight for them on their own terms. But we all have to come home, and I came home to this. And this cannot begin to describe how outnumbered I felt on my campus, in my city, in the world. I was composting every Tuesday and Thursday on my own. I was going to administrative meetings on my own, sneaking Tupperware into the servery just by myself. But I did something right. I made enough noise to attract Travis. And I know that some of you in this room know who Travis is because of his years of support of this challenge. And he essentially came up to me, he said, I see you, I hear you, I see you're passionate. How much time do you have this month? None, are you kidding? None, I have no time. But I was hungry. I didn't know what for, but I was hungry enough to lie and say yes. Tell me what to do. And two beautifully strong women, Meredith and Amy, joined us, and we embarked. And I don't know if you noticed, but the beginning of this presentation was I did this, I. And that stops here. And what Travis did not tell me about PGC is they make you do some crazy, strange things. Like sit in your quad for hours at 2 a.m., strumming your guitar and asking passerbys, what rhymes with trailblazers? Nothing really does. They make you wear your clothes inside out. They make you carry your trash around. And the thing is, people notice you and you start meeting people. I started meeting people I had never seen before on my campus. They started asking me questions, and we started having conversations. And I thought, how is it that after 4 years at this university, I have only met a fraction of the people at my school? So I did an experiment, and I asked all these people, how many other people in this photo essay do you know? And it looks something like this, around 3 to 5. That's not many people. I can count that on one hand. But in my whole campus, what does that look like? That's astronomical. That's insane. But I'm a scientist. I need evidence. I need solid proof that community is real, that it works. So I went back to these people, these strangers I had just met, and I asked them to recite the lyrics to my song that I had wrote for this very second day of Project Green. I circulated it by text to a couple, and this is that video.
Hey, all you world changers.
Tell me you love danger.
We share the Earth's failure.
This minor got so major.
It won't stop.
And it offends all that we are to ignore the place we're in.
You'll think it's far and if there's nothing left to defend.
And we're told to start caring right here, right then.
But it wasn't good enough to transcend.
Hey all you trailblazers, life is the only wager, and while you're just a lair,
please know you're so much greater.
We will try to convince you that it's worth it.
I know you'll find it. It's more than just a burden.
Keep in mind, those of us who are determined.
We're intertwined. Of that you can be certain.
Would you kill everything for the fame?
Wait for someone else you can play.
Hey all you world changers. We could really use your anger.
So I didn't really know what success was. I just circulated this, and I kind of waited, and I thought, okay, let's see what happens. And I knew I was successful when sitting in the student center, people right next to me who I did not know were watching this video, having no idea that I made it, just watching, commenting, saying random things about it. That is success. That proved to me that it's real. And I know what you're thinking, Christine, this is pathetic. This is tiny compared to everything you've done. How on earth is this important? Well, this is important because I had to learn. I had to step back and learn that I needed people in my life. I needed faces around me, I needed community, and I could not do it on my own. So I went back to my team, my heart, my soul, these 3 little people in my little corner of Texas who supported everything I did, and we thought, okay, where can we go with this? So we went to Coffee House. It's a hub. It's a huge hub of community, of social intersection on my campus, a ton of traffic and a ton of waste. So we used this as our platform for our foam-free campaign. And what I realized is no amount of time as an environmentalist will negate the fact that every single movement starts with a pen and a paper and an idea. And this is a tiny, tiny little thing, but we use the faces on our campus. High visibility people, presidents, managers, presidents of clubs, and we had them support our campaign until we graduated to a legitimate coffee house graphic. And this is a big deal, guys. Coffee house, it's like a famous place on my campus. So this is now a permanent installation right next to lids, and I get to see every day while I drink my coffee, people read this, something change in their eyes. Even if they walk away with a lid, people read this every day, and I get to see that. So I know my community is strong, and I know my community is capable. But I knew my community was bigger, way bigger, and I knew my community was devastated by climate change. And it's been months since this hurricane, but people whose lives are disheveled have not forgotten what happened. So I cannot forget what happened. So I took these beautiful people who sat quietly during my rants, me forcing them to sit and educate them, even maybe without their consent. And I told them, there's something you can do about it. There's something you can do. It's a good thing. So I took these beautiful faces, these strangers, and I took them to the beautiful faces of our city, the faces who needed help. And we rebuilt the city in the same exact way that PGC rebuilt me and rebuilt the way that we, all of us, are going to change the world. Thank you.